Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the FCS Prep Podcast, where I am your host, Dr. Keith Fairclough. And we are back at it again because we're pushing towards the end. We're almost there. So check this out, guys. Today we're talking about happiness and we're talking about love, two very pleasant emotions that we want more of in our lives, right? We're not here to correct it. We're here to enhance them. How can you be happier in your life? How can you get more love in your life? Give more love, give more happiness. How can you do that? What message is the brain giving us when we receive those emotions, when we feel them, right? Before we get into that, you already know what time it is. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. Without further ado, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Let's get into it, guys. The first thing we're talking about is happiness, right? Being happy. What message are we getting when our brain says, hey, we're happy? What message is it sending? What's the meaning behind it? The meaning behind it is that we like what we're doing and we want to do more of it. That's it. We like what we're doing and we want to do more of it. It's a signal from our brain that whatever we're doing is safe and rewarding. And it lets you know that how? By releasing all those pleasure neurotransmitters, right? All those, the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, all those little fun things. And there's more as well, but it releases those. But why? Because it's like, say, hey, do more of this. We're marking this activity, do more of this. So I will also say this, there is a strong correlation between happiness and making progress in something. A very, very, very strong correlation that whenever we're making progress in something, that's when we feel good. That's when those pleasure, not hormones, those pleasure neurotransmitters are released, right? When we're making that progress, we're happy, we're striving towards it, we're going towards a goal. That's why it's like when you actually get there, it's like woohoo, but then that doesn't really last a long time. You ever think about that? Like when you finally achieve a goal like you've been striving for so long, and it's like really good in the moment. It's like, yes, I graduated, or I got that deal, or I got that job, and it's like, oh man, whoa, finally, I got married. Then that emotion stays there, that happens. It's like, yeah. But then all of a sudden, not too long after that, it kind of dies down. I mean, fairly quickly dies down. So there's a strong correlation between being happy and having progress, because after whatever event it is, we're looking for the next thing. So now I would be remiss to say just because something makes us happy that it's automatically safe and rewarding. That is absolutely not the case. There are so many things out there that can replicate happiness via our neurotransmitters, and it's not safe and it's not rewarding. Think of it like this: drugs, not safe for rewarding; alcohol, not safe for rewarding; pornography, not safe for rewarding; casual sex, not safe for rewarding. Like, there's a lot of other things out there. Think of it like this in another term, right? A big thing nowadays is like, what are they? The people everyone's called a narcissist, right? There are real narcissists out there, but not as much as everybody wants to proclaim, right? Some people have some behaviors and things like that. But again, I'm not going to go into that. Just follow the example for a second. One of the traits of them, like when it comes to dating, is that they like to love bomb, right? Oh my gosh, you're the best thing ever. Here are the flowers, here are the roses. Oh my gosh, I love you, complete my life. And it's only been like 2 or 3 dates. Like, okay. If you're not careful, guess what? You're going to be caught up in that, right? Why? Because it makes you feel good. It's like, I like that and I want more of it, right? But there's a red flag. Again, just because it feels good, just because it's rewarding in the moment, just because it feels safe in the moment, doesn't mean it's good, right? So I just want to make sure that's clear. I don't want anyone to run around and be like, oh, I'm happy, so it must be good, right? No. Absolutely not. So I don't want to beat a dead horse. Let's move on. The symptoms. What are the symptoms of being happy? How do you know that you are happy? You're smiling. You feel your heart rate, depending on what state you're in. If you're really excited, your heart rate's probably increased. If you're just like relaxed and good, because that's also, part of being happy as well. You could be relaxed. Your heart rate might be a little bit lower, right? Again, you could be energetic There could be a sense of like lightness within your body. Like you just feel like you can like walk on cloud nine. You just feel good. You just feel overall good. And I'm telling you right now, it's actually really good for your body. Being happy, there are studies that show that people who are positive, people who are happy, have way better health than those who are negative and those who are unhappy. So please pay close attention to this. And when I say being happy, I'm talking about being happy the right way, obviously not being happy the wrong way. So just keep that in mind, all right? How do we enhance this feeling? How do we get more of this? How people always ask, how can I be happy? I'm going to tell you right now. The first thing, and all the other things, a lot of them are going to really tie right back to this first thing, okay? So just, if you're like, man, you're just repeating the same thing, just bear with me, okay? Find something that you can make lifelong, continuous progress in. I'll say it one more time. Find something that you can make lifelong, continuous progress in, okay? Like I said before, happiness is strongly correlated to progress. The more you can progress, the happier you're gonna be. Right? So, and some people might say, oh, well, but there's going to be ups and downs and things like that. Yeah, there's going to be ups and downs. But generally speaking, if you do all the things I'm saying, even those ups and downs, you can actually smooth that stuff out with the other things I'm about to tell you. So just keep that in mind, all right? We'll get to that. But find something you can make continuous progress in. You can keep learning. You can keep growing. You can keep adding value to your own life, adding value to your family's life, adding value to the world, your organization, whatever. Something where you can continuously make progress, right? The next thing, make it a point to find your purpose or your passion. Make it a point. I can't stress enough. There are too many of us living and working and doing things that we have no passion for. We just don't care about. And before someone says, oh, well, Keith, you don't understand. The thing I have passion for, I can't make money in. That's not true. That is not true. There are people that make money with their passion on a regular basis, right? And I'm not going to go deep into this, but I'm going to let you know this right now. Everything is a business. Everything is a business. That's why some people, they'll start business after business after business. They'll start it, build it, sell it. Start it, build it, sell it. Start it, build it, sell it. Of all types of different things. Everything is a business. So whatever your purpose and your passion is, it can be turned into a business. It can be turned into something that generates income for you. So, but don't focus on that right now. Focus on finding it. Because there's a lot of people who don't even know what it is. Focus on finding your purpose and your passion, because once you find it, you'll never work another day in your life because you'll love what you do and it will make you happy. You'll be excited to get to it, right? So that, all right, find a fun activity that either has short-term or long-term gains. Right? So this could be a video game. This could be a phone game. This could be something like that. This could be a fitness goal or losing weight or something like that. Find something that has some short, long-term gains. Playing on a sports team, maybe you have a little season, you're trying to make it to the top, whatever. Something like that, right? Still the essence of that progress. I'm still working towards something. Think of video games, all right? Back in the day, video games, you think about this, they had scores, like who had the highest score. That was the progress we were trying to make, right? Who has the highest score? Now it's a little bit different. Who's the highest ranked? Who's the highest prestige? Who's the best in the world, right? Who had, like, all those things. There's so many things that are into video games that allow someone to continue to make progress, right? So make sure you find some type of fun activity you like. Right? Maybe it's video games, maybe it's something else. Don't let it consume you. Remember, just because it makes us happy does not necessarily mean it's always safe and rewarding. And sometimes even the simplest of things, and even some things I mentioned already, if you go too much into it, it can actually end up being a bad thing, right? So just keep that in mind. The next thing, find something that challenges you. Now, it could be any of the things I've mentioned already, but find something that challenges you and pushes you outside of your comfort zone. It's when you stay in your comfort zone, your safe little bubble, right? Everything is familiar there. Everything's the same. Nothing changes, right? But here's the thing. If you don't ever push yourself outside of your comfort zone, you're actually going to decay in that little bubble. And your safe little bubble is not going to be a bubble anymore. It's going to be a prison, right? So it's going to be very difficult for you to be happy in your little bubble, in your prison. So you got to find things that challenge you and push you outside of your comfort zone. Again, like I said, these all kind of tie back in. You see how they tie back into making progress, finding something you can make progress in? Because when we're doing that, we're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone more and more and more and more. And the beautiful thing about it is you get to learn more about yourself, which is exciting in and of itself. You can be doing things you never thought it was possible for you to do ever. So find things that can challenge you. Right? Whether it's fitness or whether it's, your writing or whatever it is. I'm not going to list all these things, but find something that can challenge you and really push you to your limits so you could grow and see that, man, there's so much more to me than I thought before. All right. Now, next thing, gratitude and appreciation. Cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. Remember when I was talking about how there's ups and downs when we're making progress in things, but there's a way to flatten that curve all the way across? Gratitude and appreciation and having a positive mindset. That's how you flatten the curve all the way across. Make sure you are always expressing gratitude and appreciation as often as you possibly can. And one way to do this is to create a daily gratitude list where you list 3 things every day, never repeating. Just keep doing that. 90 days, your mind is going to be completely revolutionized. It's going to be very difficult for you to look at a situation and think about it in a negative point of view, in a negative light. It's going to be really hard. Someone will be like, oh man, I had a client's cancel today. Oh gosh, it's so bad. Why don't people cancel? I don't look at it like that. Okay, they canceled. Okay, time to make another podcast. Time to do some notes. Time to read a book. Time to get some business stuff done. Like, I keep moving. I don't stop. It's just an opportunity for me to do something else. I shift. That's it. Why? All that comes from being grateful and having gratitude and not harping on the things that we deem negative. Last thing, make sure you spend time with positive people who are also happy. Does this mean you can't help somebody who's negative and bring them up? No, it does not mean that. What it does mean, though, is you should not be spending a good portion of time with people like that. That's not a good idea. That's not something you really want to engage in. I don't want to say there's nothing you can do with them, but unless they're coming to you to actually help and for change, limit your time around people like that because it will rub off on you. Unfortunately, it will. That's just how energy works. That's how our moods and stuff like that work. You ever hear the saying, killing my vibe? That's killing my vibe right there. That's what that means. That's a perfect example of that. So now, moving on to our next emotion, love. What does love tell us? What message does love tell us? Love tells us that we are being accepted unconditionally, that it's safe to be our full, authentic self. This is a safe place, a safe environment, a safe relationship for us to engage in. That's the message it's telling us. You can see it show up in the different love languages, but generally speaking, this is what it means. This is what it means for us, right? So what are the symptoms of this? Very similar to happiness, honestly. You get your warm sensations, you might be energetic, increase energy, or, if you're just kind of relaxed in it, it could be, your heart rate's a little bit lower, you just feel good. Same thing, you feel good. Right? There's a physical closeness, a physical connection, intimate connection, a mental, like all these things, right? Like it just feels good across the board, right? So those are some of the symptoms of what it physically feels like to feel loved. And I'll say this, if you could think of any other ones, put them down in the chat. So now how to enhance love. Okay, so this is going to be quite long, but it's not going to be hard and it's not going to be arduous, right? So first and foremost, you got to make sure you create and maintain emotionally safe places, right, for you and whoever you're engaging with, right? So whoever relationship you have, it should be emotionally safe. You guys should be able to talk and share and be yourselves authentically, right? This is how you enhance it, right? Make sure there's no judgment. There's no ridicule. There's no shame. There's no guilt. None of that. You can be yourself fully and authentically, but that space has been created. It is created through trust, and trust is created through a consistency of positive behaviors, right? Behaviors that I see, okay, this person is making this place safe for us, for me. I'm making it safe for them. So that's how you build that with consistent positive behavior over time. Create that safe space. where you can open up and share whatever you're thinking and feeling respectfully. Of course, I always say that when you share whatever you want to share and whatever you're feeling, whatever you're thinking, you always got to do it respectfully, right? So that's the first thing. Create a safe space for your emotions and feelings or whatnot to be shared, okay? So learn about the other person. The next thing, make sure you're taking time to learn about the other person. Right? And so when I'm saying love here, I'm not just talking about like relationships. I'm talking about just any kind of romantic relationships. I'm talking about any kind of relationship, right? Take time to learn about the other person. Like, we should never stop learning. We should never get to a point where we think, oh, I know it all, right? If you're in a relationship with someone, we should be continuously trying to learn and open up and share, because not only are we vastly complex people that have all these thoughts and feelings about so many different things, but those things shift and change over time. So take time to learn, take time to, and make sure as you're doing this, you're listening, you're validating, and you're understanding them. That draws people to you like nothing else. That's how love shows up. When I'm listening, I'm validating, and I'm understanding you. So take time to learn about your friend, about your parent, about your child, about your significant other, whoever it is you're in a relationship with. Take time to learn about them. And you could do that again by listening, validating, understanding them, and asking questions. I can't stress this enough. Ask questions. Ask questions. Do not make assumptions. You are not God. You do not know all the variables behind everything, behind what they think and what they feel and what they're going to do. And you might think, oh, well, they did it before, so I'm going to, use my brain patterns and just jump the gun. There's no need for you to jump the gun, because this just might be that one time where they change. You never know. Don't make assumptions. I always say it. If you have access to the person, just ask. That's it. Just ask. Get clarification. I promise you, if you just do this one thing right here, I guarantee it will improve your relationships drastically, because you're going to start learning more about these people and why they think the way they think, why they move the way they move. You have to assume. The only reason anybody should ever assume is if you do not have access to the person, and you have to make a decision right now. That's the only time you need to make an assumption about another person. The only time. That's it. Outside of that, you got access to them, just ask. And if it's not something you have to be done right away, just wait. No assumptions. There's no benefit to assuming. If you're right, great. More often than not, you're going to be wrong, which is going to do more damage. So you might as well just earn the side of, let me just ask. Foster kindness, admiration, love and appreciation. Foster that with the other person, right? Give them compliments. Give them gratitude. Hey, I appreciate what you did for me. Hey, I really thank you for that. Hey, you are so smart. You are so this, you're that, da-da-da. Phenomenal idea. Hey, you knocked that out the park. Pour into people. It doesn't cost us anything. And especially in our relationships, pour into people as much as you possibly can. There's no need to hold back when it comes to that. Pour in, pour in, pour in. Foster that kindness, that fondness, that admiration. That builds love. It builds the connection. It makes me I want to be around people who are doing that for me. Just think about it. Don't you want to be around people who are pouring into you? Don't you want to be around people like that? That see your efforts, that appreciate you. We want to be around people like that. Just naturally speaking, we want to. Right? So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're doing that for others. Again, that helps to create the space. Right? Here's another thing. Know how you, very important, know how you feel emotionally safe. Right? I know I talked about it before, creating the space, but know specifically how you feel emotionally safe. I know I always talk about making sure we're listening and we're validating and understanding. That's huge. Please make sure we're doing that. All right. But there might be variations, because we're different people. There might be variations with that. It might be, especially in this where the love languages kind of tie in as well, right? Because there might be different variations. Whereas what might be emotionally safe for me, might not mean anything to you, and vice versa. The same thing. What might be emotionally safe for you might mean nothing to me. So this is where the learning part comes back. Going to go back to what I was saying before, and then the 2 points before. That's why learning about each other is so important. and asking, how do you feel emotions? What makes you feel emotionally safe? What can I do to make sure you feel secure, right? Very, very important. And then again, same thing. I gotta know, okay, what makes me feel loved? What makes me feel emotionally safe? Why is this important for me to know? So I can convey it to you. So you know, because otherwise you're gonna be shooting in the dark. And it's just so terrible for you and for me. But this caused even issues with my own marriage because I didn't know how to convey that to my wife. And I was holding her accountable for something she didn't even know. And it just hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks, and I felt terrible about it. So I want you to miss out on all of those terrible feelings and just take some time and do a little deep dive on yourself and find out, okay, what makes me feel emotionally safe, so you can convey it to your loved one, you convey it to your friend, you convey it to your parents, convey it to your children, convey it to your wife or your husband. You convey it to them, and then they'll know, oh, okay, I just got to make sure I do XYZ, whatever that thing is. Okay, great. Communicate your needs. Very, very important. So often in our relationships, we never communicate our needs. We either think people should be mind readers, or we just think people should know us, right? You've been with me long enough, just no, it does not work that way. It does not work that way, and it's unfair to whoever you're in a relationship with to have that expectation of them. You need to make sure you communicate your needs. Don't wait. Don't hold things in. Don't wait till it builds up, then explodes. Communicate your needs. I need this. I'm sad. I'm lonely. I need this. I want more time with you. Whatever it is, make sure you make your needs known. All right? Here's another thing. Next tip. Make sure you remain consistent with your behaviors and your words. Make sure you are consistent. I told you about what trust is, right? That consistency of behaviors over time. To trust people, there's that saying that says, I'll trust you until you give me a reason not to. Well, that's not true, right? I can't give you my trust unless I see, there's some pattern of behavior for me to trust. What am I trusting in, right? Just your good looks, your firm handshake. Am I trusting in that? No. A perfect example of this, and I used to actually hate credit scores, but now it makes sense to me once you understand the system. Your credit score is your relationship with money. And so the banks want to know, what's your relationship with money? So it shows your relationship with money over time, and they attribute a score to that. And so if you have a very bad credit score, like in the 400s and 500s, then the bank's going to be like, I don't trust you because your relationship with money is bad. Your behaviors are inconsistent. It's not good, right? But if you have a 700, 750, 850, whatever, I trust you because you have a good pattern of behavior with money. It's the exact same thing in our relationships. We have to see that good pattern of behavior, right? We got to see that change over time. We got to see that so you can prove to me that, okay, I can trust you. All right. That's where that emotion, that's where that learning about each other, right? And being consistent with our behaviors. That's when we can start building that emotionally safe space. It helps drastically in doing so. So make sure you're consistent in your behaviors. Very, 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 very important. All right. Make sure you maintain a positive view of your friend, of your family, of your loved ones. This kind of use the I'm not going to beat this one in anybody. All right. Go right back to the part of the happiness when we were talking about making sure that you have that gratitude and appreciation, that positive view. Do that and do it often, because too often the default part of our brain is to find the negative, because we find the negative to keep us safe, to look for threats. And we amplify the negative because amplifying the negative helps us to almost like think about like expanding your depth perception, right? Expanding your area. So it's like, okay, the more negative I am, the more I can be aware of more negative things, and the more aware I am, the more safe I will be. But of course, we know it does not work that way, right? So please make sure you maintain a positive view of the person that you're engaging with. The person, whether it's, again, friend, romantic relationship, whatever, child, spouse, whoever, coworker, make sure you have a positive view of that person. It's going to shift your perspective when they mess up and do things wrong, because guess what? We all mess up. But instead of you looking like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person, blah, 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 whatever, instead of doing that, what's going to happen is you'd be like, oh man, I made a mistake. Okay, no problem. No, hey, we can bounce back from that. Not a big deal, right? So you got to make sure that you maintain that positive view of that person. Okay, almost there. Apologize quick and apologize often and apologize right. I'm going to put this in the communication video section, which, let me just side note, I know the communication section is really skimpy, right? That playlist is really skimpy. It's like 2 videos. Trust and believe, I'm coming back with a mad vengeance, and I'm going to blow that playlist up. It's going to go crazy bananas, so just stay tuned, all right? And apologies will be in that section, because there is a right way to apologize. So, but just stay tuned, all right? But in any case, apologize quick, apologize often, and be genuine when you do it. All right? Hey, I'm sorry for whatever I did. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I didn't know it was going to affect you in that way. Hey, listen, I'm going to make sure I don't do X, Y, Z again, because I just don't want that to happen to you. I just, like I said, I wasn't aware of whatever. That is how we apologize. And then the last thing, be open and be respectful and be honest. Right? Doing these things is going, just in general, right? This is a nice little wrap up here. But being open, being respectful, and being honest, right, it is going to go such a long way to help maintain those relationships. And I don't want to, and I'll say this as well, because there's some people that will try to use, love, and they'll try to use, honesty as a bludgeon. Meaning that they'll be brutally honest, which is, everyone has their own perspective on that, but they'll be brutally honest in tearing someone apart, and they'll tell the truth, right? And of course, I have no problem with telling the truth and being honest, right? But the way we go about doing it's important. Right? If someone made a bad decision, right? You can say, oh man, that was so stupid. How can you do that? You're supposed to know better. This and this and that and that, and blah, 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 blah. And wow, now you're doing this and now that. It might be true. It might have been a bad decision. But the purpose of tearing them down is for what? Beyond that. I'm just being honest. Wow, you got fat. Wow, why are you so fat? Like, okay, they gained weight. It's true. And maybe you really want them to be healthy. That could also be true. But you really don't have to say it like that. You can be respectful. And I don't care how old you are. You don't get a pass to disrespect anybody. So we're talking about love, open, respectful, and honest. There you go. All right. That's it, everybody. That's all I got for you today. I know this one ran a little bit long, but guys, these are 2 pleasant emotions, happiness and love, that you can incorporate in your life right now. Listen, real change right now, guys. FCS Prep, real change right now. Guys, we have one more video left, and it's unconditional love. And in this video, guys, we're going to be discussing in this video the other part of love, right? So this is the emotion part of love that we talked about today. We're going to be talking about the choice part of love, because that's a whole other thing. And it's tied to my first video that I made a couple of years ago. But don't think it's going to be, apples to apples compared. There's going to be way more content in here, diving deep on what unconditional love looks like and what it is, right? Remember, like, comment, subscribe, share, put these things into practice. Be happy. Create these relationships where there's love exists. Do that. Extend your life. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great, awesome, and blessed day, and I will see you all again soon.